Utopia. I go to UMass Amherst right now, and I did the semester on the Italian coast in spring of 2023.
Do you have any tips for budgeting while abroad?
I think the biggest budgeting tip I could say is food is a lot cheaper in Italy than it is compared to the US. So cooking for myself almost all my meals, and then once a week I would go out to eat on the weekends, especially if I was traveling. But for the most part, lunch, dinner was all done by myself. That's a great way to save money. The other thing was I had a few ideas for, what kind of souvenirs I wanted to get for the places I visited. And so I always got like a postcard, because those only cost like 1 or 2 euros. And then I always got a magnet because I like magnets. So like finding something small that you can get from each place that doesn't cost a lot of money, but still lets you know like, oh, I was there. And then of course just taking a ton of photos because you can always print this out when you get home, right? And or you could just make a collage online, right? So yeah.
What did your day to day look like on your program?
So we had class from Monday to Thursday, so we had Fridays off. So like day to day was typically my classes were I had one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And the nice thing is I did have time to like, go home and eat lunch, so I never really had to pack my lunch. And Italy's a lot slower pace of life, so you did have time to rest, typically in the afternoon. So typically I'd go to class in the morning, eat lunch, go to class in the afternoon. And then sometimes in the evening I would do the school had activities like clubs and things to do. So I'd go to those if they were happening maybe once a week. Sometimes I'd go travel, like a couple towns over in the afternoon. But yeah, mainly day to day during the week with classes, so class focused, and then weekends were, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, either taking day trips or taking longer weekend trips.
How did the roommate process work on your program?
It was pretty streamlined and easy. So I filled out a form with my roommate preferences, right? So if I preferred to live in a single or double, and I said double because it didn't cost any extra, and I also had no problems with that. If I did know someone I was going abroad with, then you could have put the name there. I didn't know anyone, so it was all random. And then that was kind of it. So you just put your like basic housing preferences like that, filled out some general questionnaires of like, you know, when's your bedtime, like if you like noises, those basic roommate questionnaires. And then about 2 weeks, I think, about a month before our program started, we got the details of our roommates, so we were able to like, reach out to them on our own time and, say hi, introduce ourselves. So we weren't strangers when we arrived. But other than that, I was housed with only CAS students. There's a lot of other students in the program that weren't CAS, but you were housed with CAS students specifically. So that was nice too.
How did you go about finding the courses you need for your major?
Well, so it's like, yeah, so it's two different things there. So, I'm an Italian major, so I was able to find, of course, Italian courses. But the best way I found was that would work for my major was, well, I was more at an advanced level at the time. So I majored the program I was looking for, had that level of Italian I wanted, but also had other courses that were taught in Italian as well. So like I took a literature class and that was in Italian. Um, and then, I had my history of like, history classes that were Italian related. They also counted towards my major. Now, getting that to count for the major, every school has its own criteria, but for UMass, it's super easy. You fill out like this form, send it to your academic advisor, um, have them check it, fill it out, and then that goes to like the registrars and they approve it. And really, all of that stuff has like there's one form that you have to do before you actually go abroad, and everything else happens once you're back. And it can happen as soon as you get back. It can happen 6 months after you get back. It doesn't have to happen right away. And so, actually getting that to count towards my major was pretty simple. It just requires a lot of communication on your part between your advisors and maybe the registrar's office as well, and also like the international programs office here. But in general, like my courses were already, I knew they were going to be approved before I went. And so getting back was like, okay, just make sure they filter into the right spot.